What's going on, SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Welcome to our episode 2 of Hard Knocks live discussion, live stream here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. Make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss anything that we do. We have a lovely panel joining us this evening. If you're going in clockwise order, next to me is Roy White on Twitter at RDub3. You can hear him on Thursdays every week on the Blogging the Boys podcast network on Riled Up with his co-host, who is underneath him in our Brady Bunch style format, Tom Ryle on Twitter at Tom Ryle BTB, who just got here after writing the recap post on bloggingtheboys.com for this episode of Hard Knocks. And here down at about 7 o'clock, Meg Murray from Girls Talking Boys. You can hear, obviously, every Friday on the Blogging the Boys podcast network on Twitter at Meg Murray. That is 4 R's. Episode 2 into the books. Tom, you are the new person here to our live streams to discuss. What was your biggest takeaway? The biggest thing? I mean, make it good. We're kicking the show off strong here. What do you got?
Hey, let's face it. Ezekiel Elliott is the star of this edition of Hard Knocks. Even though he's not playing in the games, they just keep going back to him because he's so hilarious. I mean, they had the baby powder thing, but they left out the clouds of baby powder comment, which really, really disappointed me. But, you know, him, the sunflower seeds, you know, the dancing, he's such a colorful personality, and they just weave him in and out of the serious and not so serious stuff. So it's clear that he is just the darling of those cameras.
There was a Twitter clip floating around today to Tom's point. Jay Manzari 1 agrees with you, Tom. Says Zeke's a comedian. Zeke said that when he expelled, you would be able to see a white cloud because of the baby powder that was in there. I think that's the most politically correct way I can say that. Meg, what was your big takeaway from the Azur Kamara episode?
Yeah, I loved that we got to highlight him. We got to see a lot of guys to focus on that could be making the 53. This was also a Ben DiNucci episode, if you will.
That's true. It was. I felt bad for him when Hard Knocks kind of painted it out like there's no better way to make a 53-man roster than to go lead a game-winning drive, because we all knew that he wouldn't, Roy. This was the kind of the most traditional Hard Knocksy episode that we've gotten so far. I mean, there's only been 2. But what was your big takeaway? We got to see maybe the most polar opposite coaches in the NFL, Mike McCarthy and Cliff Kingsbury, share a moment.
Yeah, I think what you just said, it was my biggest takeaway. Like, they make this show for a national audience. So those of you that are turning in that are diehard Cowboys fans, and like, they're going to paint players that you know are not making the roster as guys who actually might. And Ben DiNucci is definitely one of those guys. Like, no amount of slow motion sidearm Uncle Rico throws can convince me that he's going to be on this roster when the team gets to 53 men. And yet, in slow motion, it almost looks pretty. It almost looks
except for the mechanics. Those never look good.
Yeah. You know, and when all your best plays in like the training camp highlights are of you running the ball and you're not known for your speed, that's probably like a bad sign. But in his defense, right, he did have a major victory in this one, and in doing so made the rookie look bad again. If Michael Parsons is going to come in and talk trash to Amari Cooper about chess and then lose to Ben DiNucci, like, I don't want to hear you yapping anymore about chess going forward. Go work on your game, young man. Get in the gym and work on your game.
Yeah, he couldn't even beat the backups in chess, you know.
Let's kind of go back, because the chess thing was one of the very first, kind of sequences we got in this particular episode. Meg, we talked about it last week, how there was no Micah Parsons. I almost said Amari Michael Gallup chess game, but we got to see it. It looked like a custom board. I thought I saw Micah's name like engraved or inscribed on the bottom. So that's another thing, like, to lose on your home court like that. Like, Micah, like, traveled with this board all the way out to Oxnard just to get handed the L by Ben DiNucci of all people. But we finally got it. The rookie's gambit, as you have dubbed it, Meg. This was, again, trying to keep it as chronological as possible. If you had asked me to guess the person that Micah would have been playing chess against that wasn't Amari Cooper, I think Ben DiNucci would have been my last possible guess.
So I have to say that I am a stalker of all their social medias. So I did see them chirping at each other about playing together. and that I knew Ben won. And then I did ask, I was like, hey, so did they film that? Like, are we actually going to get some chess in here? So it was confirmed. I was like, I know I'm going to see a Ben versus Micah thing. And I knew Ben was going to win. However, now Micah's out here in these streets on Twitter calling for a rematch. So I mean, NFL Films is the one that tweeted it. So I was like, maybe we get some like more little action throughout the season.
Was anybody a little impressed by Danucci's trash talking throughout that entire contest?
Dude, see, I was like surprised because he looks so uncomfortable on an NFL field, right? You know what I mean? Like, and so to see him in an environment that he feels like comfortable in and like that even has any high level of authority was really jarring to me. I tweeted during the game or during the episode, like, if this dude played football the way he, kind of his disposition, sort of resembles in chess. I mean, like, let's go. Like, where's that Ben DiNucci in the fourth quarter against the Arizona Cardinals? You know what I'm saying? You all agree? No, everybody just nodded.
Yes.
Okay, great.
It seems that he feels better behind a chessboard instead of a keyboard, like some people. So
that's true. Tom, I want to go to you now. Moving past the chess scene, we had a question from Vance. Let's see here. Vance says, missed the episode. By the way, Vance also had a comment, said, loved my shirts. Vance said he's a big Man United supporter. So appreciate the comment, Vance. But to miss the episode was painting the field. I coach high school football. Way to go. Did they have the Connor Williams mic'd up for the Aaron Donald fight? Tom, I'm going to be honest. Look, there was a lot of great NFL filmsness in this episode. I was super bummed that we didn't get the Connor Aaron Donald one-on-one. In fact, I feel like they painted Connor out badly, just showing him kind of taking Aaron Donald down.
Yeah, they didn't get the cameras on them apparently in time. And yeah, it was a major disappointment that they didn't show more of what happened, because I was looking forward to seeing that. And all we get is the takedown at the ends. And like you said, it wasn't the best look for Williams in that thing. I wish they had done, a little bit better, because they do such a good job at catching so many things at Hard Knocks. But yeah, that was one miss and was a little bit disappointing.
Roy, they also kind of painted Tony Pollard out to look like the villain in his fight. You know what I mean? Like it looked very pro Rams. And Hard Knocks actually NFL Films loves the Rams. They did the Rams last year. They did them 5 years ago in 2016. They also did the Rams on All or Nothing. So there's a lot of good relationships there. Maybe they don't want to, like pee into the wind, so to speak.
I mean, I just think it was a case of them not being at the right place at the right time. And the filmmakers, once they see a commotion, right, they're snapping to attention. They're drawing their cameras to it, but they're like the referee, right? They're only catching the second man's actions. They're not getting the guy who did the action first. So I think, that was a little disappointing. I was impressed by, the editing that they used, because I think David Hellman of DallasCowboys.com kind of tweeted out about how the fights that they showed were almost the opposite chronological order of how they took place when we were all following them at camp, but it made for good television. And, to say that Connor Williams looked bad in that, I don't think he really looked bad. And the reason I don't think he looked bad is because Dak Prescott was hyping him up right after the fact and saying, yes, continue to do that. Stay in his area. And, his powder place, stay in his powder place and don't let up. And to me, that was probably something that Cowboys fans saw, at least I saw. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, Connor, keep doing that to Aaron Donald, because if he'll do it to Aaron Donald, then you can be able to do it to anybody, right? If you have that dog against you against Aaron Donald, then you have that dog in you against anybody.
Right. That's well said. Meg, the Rams sequence kind of got off on a left foot with Terrell Basham's injury. Like it kind of, I don't know, like we saw all the shots of the Rams walking in and it was really cool. And then it's like they bring us down with this injury. And I understand like the sequence of things and whatnot, but that was a little bit of a bummer, if I'm being honest.
That was a super bummer. I mean, they set us up, at the beginning of this episode to really be rooting for this character. Obviously, I'm talking about this from a casual watcher's perspective.
Yeah, like a TV viewer's perspective, like at the show, right? Sure.
Yeah, they're like, yes, this character. Let's go bash him. Like he's funny. He has a funny accent, and then he just gets knocked down right away, and then he's out the rest of the entire episode. You're like, why did you tease me this way?
Mm-hmm.
It was basically just a large tease.
Yeah. That's true. You mentioned accents, Meg. Tom, can you give us your best English accent?
No, I do not have an English accent.
Roy, can you? I need somebody to impersonate Coach Dirty. Roy, let's try.
I mean, I think the word you just have to go with is massages. I want a sensual massage. And, guys, we got to make sure you get our water in, make sure we get our massages in, right? Make sure we keep our fitness up, right? We've got to bring it to these guys. We've got to take it to these boys, okay? We're not giving nothing to these guys, okay? No, listen to me, okay? We get out there, we give it our all, and that's what we do. We leave it on the pitch. We leave it on the pitch, okay? On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well done, Roy. Seriously. I was blown away at, and NFL Films, they have their headquarters in New Jersey, which are obviously amazing. And they have like every film of everything, of all things. By the way, I Bleed Blue 365 says Roy's MVP tonight. So way to go,
just
Roy.
Lucky I got an accent in there. Thank God for Hey Dare Day. Like, I'm so glad he got a pop in this one. And he got a lot of pop in this episode.
Dude, but when was the last time, Tom, that his NFL Europe highlights were shown? That's what I was going to say. Like, that's amazing that NFL Films can pull those.
Yeah, it's so cool because you get to see a lot of times when you're especially cowboy tunnel vision, like we tend to get around Blogging the Boys. It was great to see going back and giving us some of the real backstory of these people and where they come from. The same way they did with Azur Kamara a little bit later, talking about where he came from. And you'd love to see that. I just want to say, after Roy's outstanding performance, I'm so glad I didn't even try. I knew it was going to be a failure, and it would have been embarrassing after that.
Well, that's very humble of you, Tom. Meg, a little while ago I mentioned pee into the wind, but the line of the night probably came from Demarcus Lawrence when he was coaching up his fellow defensive linemen. And I'm going to butcher this, but it was, if he doesn't have a little pee going down his leg, you aren't threatening him enough. That is a classic Tankism.
I'm scared of him.
I mean, yeah, like I would be curious, like if there's like any factual to that, you know what I mean? Like who's the offensive tackle that's peed down his leg? You know what I mean? When Demarcus Lawrence has been opposite.
Was he peeing down his leg because of D-Law, or was he peeing down his leg because like he hasn't gotten a bathroom break? Like I'm unsure. However, it was fun to see that juxtaposition of like D-Law the dad versus D-Law the I'm going to kill you football player.
Yeah, I really thought we were going to get this, like, he's the new leader of the team moment, Roy, when they showed the still of him with Tyrone Crawford. I thought that's where maybe we're going to see Tyrone at practice because he was there too. You know, I thought that we were kind of going in that direction. But walking on the beach, you tweeted this, Roy. He is I don't know exactly how you worded it, but a delightful man, a wonderful person. That was really well on display.
Yeah, I mean, like family man, look at him and all of his kids and how his wife talks about how he's really at peace and really focused when his family is there when, like, typically, traditionally, at least in the masculine, like, psyche of football players, you would think no distractions, right? Take your family away, take your kids away, right? Nothing but football. You live it, you eat it, you breathe it. And to know that a guy like him excels because he's given that, leeway to be allowed, be around his family, and all of them should be around their family. That's why it's so cool when the Cowboys do that. Inviting the kids, inviting the family out to the field and kind of entertaining them. That was always one of the coolest moments to see. And I think people got to see that a little tonight, even though they didn't give us much of a description of it. It's just kind of the visuals, but to see the kids out there, right? Zach Martin's kids running around, other players and the kids dragging their helmets and like lifting their pads. It's just really, really cute to see all that stuff kind of going on. And I can't help but root for someone like that. As a guy with 2 kids, call me sappy, call me like easy to win over if you just give me a little child in like a helmet. But yeah, it's that easy for me.
So Jay Manzari 1 asks if the dog barking was mine.
No.
I'm glad to know that my reputation precedes me. But it was Tom's dog that was barking. Thank you, Jay Manzari. Bear appreciates the attention. But Meg, we found out that CeeDee Lamb has 2 dogs that he misses. We also found out that he is a man of fine scent choices. I mean, let's talk about this. CeeDee Lamb likes to chill and mellow out with some candles. He said, what did he say? That where I'm around, it's never going to smell bad. It was something like that.
I love that. Like, as a person who has 3 candles burning currently, I would dangerous. Love to burn a CD candle in the future. Yeah,
I think we need to see like I don't know. There's a t-shirt idea somewhere in that. You know what I mean?
We can get clear eye view glasses. Like, we can get CD candles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a great marketing setup right there, doesn't he?
100%.
Yeah.
Charlotte probably watched this tonight and was like, yes.
That's true. Tom, but we did get the CD montage finally. We got the CD highlight package, CD dominating. We got actually Michael Irvin. We saw Jerry's desk again, a McGriddle-less desk, talking to Michael Irvin about CD, about how he's put on weight,
nice
etc.
Salt shakers, Meg. Did you see Meg's fancy salt shakers that she got just for the show? You missed this.
Wow.
That's
Jerry life right there, ladies and gentlemen.
My parents wanted to contribute. They were like, we have those.
Wow. This is great. But Tom, you were out at training camp when a lot of the CD highlights were happening. That's why Tom has the Hawaiian shirt on for anybody who's watching us live on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. We are podcasting this conversation. But Tom, you look incredible. You look like you've had 6 Mai Tais by now. But I Am Jacques asks, is CeeDee better than Amari? Because we didn't get, granted, Amari was still on PUP through all this filming, but the stage is being set. The talent is clearly there. The opportunity is seemingly going to be there. It does feel like we are, Doc and Marty firing up to 88 miles an hour on CeeDee taking over as the alpha here.
Yeah, well, you have to remember that part of this is that Amari just now has gotten back in pads. So there wasn't anything to show of him.
Right.
Which somebody just asked. And so, that Rex, that's why we're not seeing Amari. There was nothing to cover with him. Now that he is expected to see the field when they face off against the Houston Texans, I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. And the whole thing is CeeDee better than Amari is to me a pointless question. You want them to both be so good that you can't really decide. And that's what I think we may be seeing. They're clearly setting up CeeDee as the on-field star of this. And I do want to say that while they were showing a lot of fun clips with Ezekiel Elliott doing funny things, did you notice that he was really storming into the Rams line? He looked good in a couple of shots there. So, that's what we forget is this, the whole series Hard Knocks is about drama and personality and humanizing these players, but it doesn't always cover the real football stuff. And I think CeeDee is real football stuff. He's just a tremendous talent. And I'm not going to worry about who's best. I just worry about, they're both out there having a really good game.
Look at that, Tom, right down the middle. You could run for office with that, disposition right
Beautiful.
There. Roy, Tom, makes a great point that this show, and that's what Meg kind of approached it through the lens of, it is a show. You are targeting football, not even football fans. Like, there's people who have HBO Max that are done with, like their 18th rewatch of Entourage and the new, what is the Kate Winslet show that's on?
That's Mayor of Easttown.
White Lotus is the one that just had the season finale yesterday. So.
Excuse me. But so people that are browsing through their HBO Max are finding this and falling in love, and they're falling in love with Azur Kamara. Kamara, it's always a difficult pronunciation. We've had that trouble with Alvin, since the end of the NFL now 4 years ago. He is the first kind of fringe player that they've chosen to highlight so far this season. I think they picked a really good one, hearing his story, his background, his path to the NFL, seeing his family. If we're handing out like MVPs of the episode, I think he's in the run.
Yeah, no, I think you kind of, again, this goes back to them marketing it for a broad audience, right? We all know that Ben DiNucci is not a fringe player, but the audience doesn't know that. And so similar for Kamara, quite honestly, there's not a lot of room at his positional group for him to have a spot on this team either. But that doesn't take away from the fact that by the end of the episode, I was, in fact, cheering for him. And credit to the television show makers here, because when they started with him, even though his story, I was interested in it, I didn't really care. I was kind of like in my mind's eye saying, okay, that's cool. Now get me to something that's more, substantial, more football from Tom's perspective, if I can borrow that. And, to be honest, as it went on, right, and I don't think anybody watching could disagree with this, but as it went on, you're hoping every play that he made, every moment he was involved in was a big one. And gosh, like that loss and that moment and that play getting taken away, when I watched that, I didn't think 2 seconds about that. I just, it's preseason football.
You mean when you watched it on Friday night is what you're saying?
Yes. When I watched the play, I didn't think 2 seconds of it. That's football, preseason football. I'm not going to think another thing of it. Watching it in this episode, that was a painful loss. That hurt really bad. Like for a preseason game, that hurt.
Wow, mood lifter, Roy White, right there.
Yeah, but the great part is, right, his family. Like his family was phenomenal. Yeah. But all the families that have been highlighted in it have been great. Mm-hmm. Micah Parsons' mother was adorable, sitting. I don't know where she was sitting, but enjoying herself and being as cheery as she could be. But yeah, the fact that you see these guys and what they come from, it's really a good reminder that everybody, every individual under a helmet with a number on their back, like had a ride to get to this position, right? And his is an incredible ride, an incredible story that I hope continues, whether it's with the Cowboys or not.
Meg, do you feel like Azur is the main characters are Dak and Zeke and even McCarthy and Micah, but Azur's kind of like the Mike Hannigan that comes in late, marries Phoebe, like associates himself with the main character, and so is therefore part of the nucleus moving forward. Like, is that who he is?
Wow, Mike Hannigan. Okay.
Is that Paul Rudd's character in Friends? Is that who you're referring to? I did not know his character's name. Hey, that's incredible.
I'm trying to keep this on brand. Friends is on HBO Max. Like, hey, we're trying to help the platform here. You know what I mean? Like, go rewatch it. He's introduced in season 8. You know what I mean? He's a nice guy.
Yeah, you have to have you have to have an underdog. You have to have someone to root for. And this is it. Like, this is the perfect story. His family is lovable. The fact that they got so many crowd shots of them and true vulnerable moments where they're just like, I'm smiling so hard just watching him play, like that my face is going to hurt. And that just makes you well up and get all warm and fuzzy, and you want him to win.
Yeah. I agree. I do want to say, Tom, that to set you up, that I think it worked out really well for television's sake that this game was in Arizona. The director of Hard Knocks, Shannon Furman, who's going to join us on one of these post games soon enough. I hadn't even told any of you, so surprise. She's great. She's been on the Blog and the Boys podcast several different times over the years. She used to oversee All or Nothing. And so the first season of that show was the 2015 Arizona Cardinals. That was the team that was profiled. And so they learned all the best spots in that stadium to set up different camera angles and stuff. So to your point, Meg, that might be how they were able to so well position, or I think you brought it up, Roy, like how to find certain fans in the stands or family members in the stands. Like that is a house that they know a little bit better than any other. Tom, so were you emotionally moved by anybody else? We do have a question from I Am Jacques, says, what do we think of Cake Boy Alarcon getting more shine post game? The great Isaac definitely was. He's kind of like Ted from Scrubs. He's hovering in the background, somebody that everybody enjoys, but not a main character quite yet.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think Isaac, because I can't pronounce the name at all correctly the way you do, it's almost like they're foreshadowing him for another episode. Have you noticed he keeps popping? He popped up 3 times during this, including the very touching moment at the end when he was talking to another International Pathways player about how they got here and how remarkable it was to even be there in a preseason game. it's like, I want to stay tuned to see if something does come of that and see if they were foreshadowing that a little bit. I was wondering if Meg saw a little bit of potential there in that same thing.
Oh, 100%. Like that was like the perfect moment. You got like his like goofy side, and then you see him like fighting he's like, let's go, getting like really excited during the game. And then you get to see like peel back a little more and see him like express he's an international player and he's like a mentor to other players. That's so cool to see.
Great point by you both. This is a great point. Great question from friend of the show, Idan Cruz, from Brownsville, Texas, who, by the way, I believe had a little league team have success. I don't know the qualifying stages they're at, but I know Brownsville was having some success in the little league baseball circuit today. But the question here is, should we be worried about the cadence count? This was at the very beginning of the episode. All the Cowboys, basically the entire team working on the cadence. The Dallas Morning News' Michael Gelkin tweeted that poor snap exchanges led to this exercise. Roy, I don't think any of us are panicked. And center, at least a center, has been an issue for the Cowboys so far this preseason. Are you a little worried? Are you a little just kind of uncomfortable? Where are you at with this?
Well, I wouldn't say anything from the episode made me more uncomfortable from it. Like, they'll adjust their cadences and they'll adjust their snap counts. And some of them, will have to go back to being silent counts. I'm sure they're working on that this season, which they didn't really have to work on at all last year. But with fans back in the stands, that's going to be something to keep an eye on with centers as they're maneuvering that position. But I wouldn't be concerned about it based on this episode. I mean, I would have some concerns about it based on what we saw on Friday night, but we're not talking about Friday night. So based on this episode, would not be concerned about anything that you saw in that regard, verbiage or otherwise. That's something that they adjust kind of throughout the season.
Meg, we kind of talked about this last week, but this was kind of the first time we've maybe ever really seen Kellen Moore in an instructional environment when he was like, he had a PowerPoint and everything. It was a little, I don't know, it's a little awkward. Like, it's still, we talked about it last week. It's kind of hard to get used to.
Consider it goobery.
Right. Exactly.
He just remains Kellen Moore. He is who he is. It was a little more interesting to see him be more instructional this time. We're peeling back some onion layers, like slowly but surely with him.
Yeah, and like an offense, like any ogre, is an onion. Tom, I want to ask a question. You weren't here last week, Tom. No big deal. Tom was burning the midnight oil writing for bloggingtheboys.com. He is truly our MVP in every capacity. So I have some different questions for tonight. Last week we did like winners and losers and all these lame things because I wasn't feeling too creative. But tonight, Tom, I ask you, and Meg, you're up next. Roy, you're batting third here. Tom, what have you learned, or what did you learn about the Cowboys that you did not know in this episode?
Gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's an intense question. Shout out to me.
I learned, to me, it's about the backstories.
And also, by the way, Tom, if you're watching live with us, let us know something you learned in the episode that you did not know about the Cowboys. But Tom, the backstories, go ahead.
Yeah. To me, I loved Azur Kamara's backstory. That was really great to get into. And I just enjoy the entire time they take to look into who these people are outside of a football uniform. We have this view of these guys as almost other than human. And they, this is just like great to see that, okay, I had no idea that Danucci played chess. Okay, that's nice to know, even if I don't really expect that I'm going to see that much of him in a Cowboys uniform anymore. But it's still great to see that. And it's just a reminder that, we just had the 5 players cut today to get down to 85 for the Cowboys. These are human beings. These are people with families and lives and dreams. And it's interesting that I don't think any of the people that got cut got any time at all in Hard Knocks previously. So I'm wondering if they've got something coming up for the next episode where they're going to start off with the 5 cuts.
Yeah, I incorrectly anticipated that we would get footage of the players being cut today. Now, there were only 3 cuts that the Cowboys had, only 2 true cuts. Anthony Hines was a waive injury designation, so you could still wind up on injured reserve for them. But so I thought we were going to get that because that's just kind of the traditional Hard Knocks formula. But we are in a, I don't say like unprecedented sounds way too, big for what I mean, but like there's only 3 preseason games. There's the bye after. This is new, the kind of continual cuts as we move along. So maybe they're kind of figuring out a new formula as we go along. Meg, Roy, I went through that explanation to buy you each time because I felt bad for Tom that I sprung this intense question on him. But Meg, you cannot say that you learned that Lyle Collins teases Dak about not going to LSU, as I am Jacques said. But what did you learn that you didn't know?
I actually did know that, but I loved seeing it. However, I would say probably, is it dirty or dirty? I heard it like a million different ways today. But just getting to see him, first of all, didn't know his accent was so great. What's up?
John the Grace agrees with you, by the way.
Thank you. But like, you would think that you would highlight, like Dan Quinn, like someone coming in like that, but just like have him be the focal point of the defense today was really interesting. And just to see how he interacts with the players and how he like works through like adversity with them and stuff like that. He was really interesting to me, and I'd love to see more of him in the future because who doesn't like that accent?
That's true.
That's true. I mean, that type of accent, like, you as a kid, I just wish I had it. So,
right?
Like, it sounds so, everything you say, everything, like, I'm not going to pretend I haven't done that in the mirror before on my own because I absolutely have.
You're from London.
Because doesn't it just like it
also
just
a Paul Rudd character?
Yes.
Brings a smile. Brings a smile to everyone's face, and you could say anything right and have it be taken both seriously and in a tone where it's like not pissing people off, making people upset. So that was awesome, right? Learning about him was incredible. And then I guess I would say one thing I didn't know, when they were breaking down the defense and getting hyped before the game, I didn't know that Donovan Wilson would be in the middle of all that. Did that surprise anybody else? Like, of all the people I thought that might take that lead or take that step or that role, Donovan Wilson was not one of the first 10 that I would have come up with.
Well, it didn't surprise either of these fighting Texas Aggies and myself and Tom. Yeah. But Tom, you clearly are going to go back for your guy.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that was one of the things that I picked up on in my write-up, that, it was nice to see him come out because I've heard that he is more of a leader on the field than people realize. And it's great to see that he's, stepping up. You have the guys that are the quiet leaders that aren't the rah-rah types, but it also helps to have those guys that will get out there and kind of provide a little emotional jazz for the people that are on the team. So, maybe that's an emerging story for the season is Donovan Wilson's role as a leader, not just on the field, but also off the field and in the locker room. Because, you can never have too many leaders on a football team as long as they're all working in the same direction.
Yeah, all of you had great answers. But if I'm grading, I think Roy wins. So sorry. Nobody asked me for anything I learned, which was very selfish of all of you. I would say that Jerry is a bit of a historian. Jerry referenced Winston Churchill. You know what I mean? Like, who would have ever thought that would have happened? He references a lot of things. So we're going to go in reverse order here. So Roy, you're first. What is one thing on the opposite side of the spectrum, one prior you had about the Cowboys that you kind of got, reassurance of, that you got evidence of, something you thought about this team that was you received further conviction of through episode 2?
I mean, I guess I would say that, I received further conviction that the defense is getting better, although nothing really from a highlight standpoint made me feel that way. It's just that I feel like—
How did they not show the Maurice Kennedy interception on Matthew Stafford?
I mean, again, like, things happened and then they were probably late to turn the camera to it. Like, I don't know why they couldn't have gotten the practice tape from the Cowboys and plugged that in, but that's beside the point, right? What they gave us is what they gave us. Yeah, I guess I do feel good about the communication that like Dan Quinn is responsible for. I feel good about the communication that Dirday is like delivering, right? It's a message that I think is going to continue to like get results in that regard. And a lot of these guys on the defensive side, I mean, practically all of them are turnovers. So there is a lot to learn from them. And all we can really do right now, right? It's hard to dig and dive too deep into results, but we can look at process. And from a process standpoint, it's hard not to see optimism on the defensive side of the ball. So I've confirmed in that theory that I thought they got better on the defensive side of the ball, and I think the defensive messaging is reflecting that.
That's a good answer. Well done. Certainly, as I surprised with that question. Zach T says CeeDee is an absolute beast. So fun to watch. I agree. But I also agree with I Am Jacques here in terms of things that were reinforced in this episode. I feel more confident that CeeDee is going to get overdrafted in fantasy. Every football fan already knows who CeeDee Lamb is. This only makes them feel like we talked about Ben DiNucci and kind of how the show hypes him up and stuff. There will be some average football fans that when the Cowboys' final roster cuts come out and he's cut, they're going to be like, what? He looks so good on Hard Knocks. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happens. And so the opposite of that's happening with CeeDee. Meg, what is your conviction that you feel stronger in?
Well, it was going to be CeeDee Lamb is the real deal.
Yeah.
You need a new one. Different one. Sorry. That one's already been taken.
That's rude.
I think you could go with that.
Stole my thunder.
It wasn't
because all that he mentioned
I know
was
you didn't take it, Tom. I'm talking about the commenters, which I agree with them.
I Am Jacques and Zach T. To be clear, Meg is targeting you. John LeGray said CeeDee is also a great dog dad. Every person in the world empathized with him when he said, I miss them. Like, he said it with such pain in his voice. He was so pumped to see his pups.
And like, how Dallas of him to have a golden doodle. Like, I love that journey for him.
I suppose. But that's a fair answer. CeeDee also, I mean, I'm somebody who loves to look at the uniforms and, accessories and things like that. CeeDee goes with the rare one leg sleeve. It's hard to pull off. You got to be sick.
It's a swag thing.
That goes off of the swag factor they were talking about with poor old Ben DiNucci at the beginning, wearing an ankle bracelet.
That was tough. Man, by the way, has Ben DiNucci ever had more proponents for him than when Azur hit him during practice? And everybody's like, whoa, don't hit the quarterback. Like, in that moment, everybody in the universe was Team Ben DiNucci.
Yeah, it's good for him. I hope he enjoys his time in the sun.
Oh, by the way, I Am Jacques with a great point. This was near the end of the episode. Dak Prescott was seen with his birthday present from Ezekiel Elliott, the luggage that he was rolling in the stadium. That was cool. Tom, give us your thing that you established more confidence in as a result of this episode.
Micah Parsons is going to just be a force on the field.
That's what Jay Manzari 1 says. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. And he is going to be, I think, the star defensively because he's going to be out there. He's not caught up in all the muck and flow on the defensive line, and he's going to be making some plays. And that just brought it in. We've barely seen him in preseason, and yet he's an impact play after impact play. So, yeah, that to me was just a great little reassurance that this first-round draft pick is probably going to work out. And I admit I was one of the people that was going like, a linebacker? But now I'm like, oh, a linebacker.
He's also a great color commentator for the offense.
Did he cause that fumble, though?
I think he held him up. Like, I think he contributed. I mean, whatever percent you want to divvy out, it's not zero, his contribution.
Okay.
Well, he had a good stop on it anyway. I mean, the play was stopped, and then Neil just came in and said, taking the ball away from you.
Yeah, I thought the first
now plays for the San Francisco 49ers, Tom. So.
I knew you were going to say that.
I thought the first half of the episode, Micah was kind of looking like a loser because, again, like the DiNucci fail on your own chessboard, on your own turf. Like, that was bad. But as the episode went on and then you get into the game, right? And anytime you get into the game and you're following Michael Parsons, you're inevitably going to get an argument with a coach over the playing time that he's not getting, which has been really funny because, again, coach, remember what you told me, coach. Be honest about what you told me, coach. Try to remember what you told me, coach. That's not what you told me, coach. That was
Roy,
really funny.
You sound like DeMonte KZ. That was a great moment, too, to see. I saw Bill Yuma, our friend, had that comment here on the stream, too. DeMonte trolling, Mike over this. Like, I kind of like that. I kind of like that he's known for, wanting to go all out. And I mean, it was trolling. It wasn't, like, legitimately making fun. But, like, I like that from Micah.
No, I mean, it was really like, again, that's why I think he bounced back in the latter part of the episode, right? You get him around the game, and that's the football side, as Tom mentioned. Like, he will make you feel good about what he gives you from that perspective.
Once again, nobody asked me for my opinion on this subject.
Well, I thought you agreed about the CeeDee opinion. You kind of took it from Meg. What was your opinion?
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I doubled down mostly on was that sunflower seeds are the meal of choice during a football game, right? Like, Zeke was going to town on the sunflower seeds. Like, that's your classic, by the way, I saw a comment a little while ago about Doug Nussmeier and his voice. Doug Nussmeier in the quarterback room that we saw, him and Ben DiNucci, had a big pack of sunflower seeds going on too. So like, that was an
Why
interesting
your eyes
moment.
looking this way, RJ? There's nothing that your eyes are going to find for you this way that's going to help you. Okay.
I mean,
so quit doing it.
It is what it is. But I actually, the sunflower seed consumption was so quick that that can't have been the only bag that Zeke had throughout the game, especially with how generous he was. You know what I mean? Like, that there had to have been multiple bags, is my point.
Now, did you guys enjoy the bit where CeeDee, because I thought they were talking about hot dogs at halftime and the hot dogs they were going to eat. But what it seemed like Dak and Zeke were doing was making a thought bubble above the coaches on the sidelines who they were intimating were going to enjoy hot dogs at halftime. Did you guys see that same part the way that I did?
I heard hot dog too. So
right?
You're kind of breaking news to me. Recap the scene one more time. Right. Lay it out a little bit for us.
Okay. So Dak is like talking about, I'm going to get a hot dog at halftime. I'm going to get a hot dog. And they start the clip as if he is saying it himself. But then they kind of pan out to Zeke, and Zeke is fanning his fingers over either a coach or a personnel man, someone with the Cowboys, right? Someone just with a badge. And he's going, I can't wait to have all those hot dogs at halftime. It's definitely a clip you should rewatch, because maybe I saw it incorrectly, right? Maybe I saw it and Dak was really talking about all the hot dogs he was going to eat, because the Hard Knocks voiceover guy even mentioned it as like, some players are thinking about how they're going to fill their bellies at halftime. Tell me if I'm wrong on that, right? I think I Blue Bleed 365 at least saw it that way, using their bald head as a crystal ball of what's coming in the future.
Roy, you inspired a new question for me. So you are back in contention for MVP of this episode. And we're going to circle it back around. So Tom, you're up first here. When you rewatch this episode, or rather, what will you rewatch this episode to see? What is the sequence that you will rewatch this episode specifically to watch?
I want to go through the snap count thing again, because, when you're trying to write up something.
Oh, you mean the cadence thing? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, when you're trying to write up something.
Tom was writing for us at bloggingtheboys.com. For anyone who's unaware, Roy's the MVP, but Tom is the foundation upon which we were all built.
But you can't really pay as much attention to the details sometimes, because you're trying to capture something so that you can get this thing pushed out. Because we try to go live with our recaps as quickly as we can for people that are looking for the stuff on the site. And yeah, I want to go back and kind of get a little bit more of what was going on with the whole Cadence thing, because it was like the vasectomy conversation the previous week. I didn't really get the details the first time through. And actually, last week I was a little bit puzzled. This time, at least, I wasn't sitting there scratching my head going, what?
DJ Dog 31 asks, who is the player with his son by the blocking sled? I believe that was Carlos Watkins. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe maybe that's, DJ Dog 31, the thing you're most excited to rewatch the episode to confirm. But I believe it was Carlos Watkins. Meg, when you fire it up, you take a break from the Mayor of Easttown finale to rewatch Hard Knocks. You're doing it for what specific reason?
I would like to learn the words to Basham's rap.
Ooh, also Demarcus Lawrence's in the huddle. He had a little flow going on too. How have two people rapped on this thing?
And not Kelvin.
Exactly. How is that? But okay, describe Basham's rap for us, because I know we had some people jump in late who didn't see the whole episode. I
mean, he was just kind of like getting all hyped up for the scrimmage with his boys, and this is why I'm saying showing him was a tease. Because we were getting a lot from him. We were getting his real personality, and he was giving us a little rap there. It wasn't going to be on any records anytime soon. But yeah, he gave us a couple bars.
He was basically doing Dr. Seuss.
Yeah. He hit us with 4 rhymes, Tom.
He was doing all that.
Well, because he chose to rhyme with Rams. So there's nothing cool you can say that's gonna, because I think the word he rhymed with was Bam. You know what I mean? So
the problem is that he didn't do Basham on there. I was kind of waiting for that one.
The fact that he didn't, you could brand it, right?
But that's
you'd be like
thing.
DJ Khaled.
I don't know if I missed it. I have to go back and find
out. Wow. I'm so much more disappointed than I already was that he missed that. But to be fair, it's pronounced Basham. So it's not, and because I think if he would have said it, everybody would have been like, what? I would have been like, that's not your name. You know what I mean?
But that's the beauty of the word smithery. That's very Eminem-ish,
but Roy, you can't you can't rhyme your first name is Wah. You know what I mean? You can't do that. It's Roy. That's how your name is.
Wah is pushing it, but Basham and Basham, I think you can stretch that enough in the hip hop world.
Just a different emphasis on a different syllable. We can figure this out.
That's good. Meg nailed it.
That's also good. By the way, Bill Yuma confirmed it was Carlos Watkins. He's wearing an ID. That was my dot that I connected. So
Otis Hudson, Jr.
Otis Hudson, Brad Sham.
Yeah.
How is this not a thing?
Yes.
Wow.
We were robbed.
We really were. But again, Demarcus Lawrence also had a flow that, it's just, but seriously, Kelvin Joseph is, he's not a loser, but stock down Kelvin Joseph. How have we not heard you rap at this point? Especially when Dan Quinn talked about it. And especially
we also had the rookie show. How have we not had a rookie show of any kind? Is that coming next week after they've made now 2 sets of cuts? It seems like they missed that.
So to Roy's point, in case anyone's unaware, the Cowboys had to trim from 90 to 85 players today on Tuesday, August 17th. Next Tuesday, August 24th, they will have to cut 5 more to get down to 80. It's Meg's birthday. So they will have 80 players. Well, I don't know if we'll see any of this, but man, that is a huge miss. Yeah, but we got to go back. We got to learn the lyrics and we got to improve them. Maybe certainly as a birthday present to you, Meg. Roy, when you go back and rewatch, what are you going to go hunting for specifically?
I'll probably, one of the things that we didn't really talk about because, it gets so much play, right? And we always talk about quarterbacks. But the thing that I look at with Dak Prescott, and someone tweeted back to me about it, Patrick Walker, who writes for a terrific network. He does some great stuff. And he kind of tweeted back at me about Dak Prescott's lower half. Because whenever you watch Dak throw now, his base, his footwork is always pristine. It's always balanced. He's always throwing from a position of strength. And so when I look back at that, I know it's just a couple of clips, but those types of clips are what makes me so encouraged and makes me think that here at this point, and I was on the train of seeing Dak in the preseason, want to see him out there at least once or twice. You know what? I don't need to see it anymore. I don't care. As long as he's able to throw in practice, right? I feel great about Dak Prescott's prospects for 2021. And again, when I watch back, you look at his lower half, it is just, the man is a horse. He is just a stallion. with the way that he moves his feet and the balance that he has.
Yeah, just trying to get some intercuts of Dak, Danucci.
I'm watching his hips, right? The hips don't lie. And those hips are moving, baby. I mean, they're giving me everything I want and then some.
Everybody remembers Shakira for that, but the phrase cover of that song is so much better than Shakira's. Just if anybody wants to listen to a good version of that song,
the phrase.
The Fray covered hips. Yeah, they covered Hips Don't Lie. They also covered Heartless by Kanye. Thank you to my supporter there in the background. But so those are two great Fray covers that I feel like don't get enough play. So just look it up, YouTube it later on. I mean, so after you're done, subscribe to the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel, of course.
So we're clear, I'm shaking my head at that. That's erroneous, but fine.
I mean, look, listen to it. That's all I'm saying. The phrase cover of Hips Don't Lie is incredible.
Okay, it might be good, but to say that it's better than Shakira,
it is. I mean, like if you're doing a Zumba class, you want Shakira's version. But if you're on a
Shakira's
road trip,
version is not that good.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's not that great.
Wow. Anyway, the thing that I'm gonna rewatch, nobody asked. But Tom, you mentioned the cadence thing. I want to go back and look at the whiteboard. I want to see the things that are on Kellen Moore's in his presentation because he had like 6 bullet points. So I want to understand them exactly.
Ooh, now that's getting freeze framed by opponents. That's trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm saying. I want to understand what it is. I won't tell anybody, but I want to look.
Oh, but that's our tradition at Blogging the Boys. Is take a freeze frame and build something out.
That's very true, Tom. Shout out to the 2016 Dallas Cowboys draft board. And
that was phenomenal work. Like people should go back if you want to go rewatch something. Go take a look at the detective work that took place at Blogging the Boys, anchored by these two guys, RJ and Tom. And the piecing together they did. These guys were like investigators that go to someone's trash who's shredded their materials, right? Who's put them through a shredder. And they pieced all the pieces back together, taped them all up, and were like, here's the entire Cowboys draft board of 2016 and where they have all the players ranked.
And we didn't do it just once.
I know. It's happened multiple times now.
2016 was the year the Cowboys drafted Zeke, obviously. It was the year the Cowboys drafted Jalen Smith, who we have not really seen. And so that is my final question as we kind of circle around the bend. Roy, we start with you. I'll start with me, actually. The thing I'm surprised that we haven't seen through 2 episodes is Jalen Smith. And it's not to pick on him like, a lot of people tend to do. I really am surprised. I mean, I really thought that we would see something about him, but he's just been in the episode sparingly. I don't know what that's come down to, what the decision-making is behind that process, but I am genuinely surprised by that. So, Roy, what are you surprised? Now, there were 2 episodes in, because last week we talked about it. You had to get through all this stuff. You had to talk about the Dak injury. You had to show us the state of the Cowboys press or whatever. We are 2 full hours into this car ride. What are you shocked that you have not seen yet? If you're watching along with us, let us know what you are surprised by.
Man, you had a great one because Jalen now not being featured for 2 episodes is shocking, right? I thought we would have had a whole segment on his transition to the number 9 jersey alone. But if I had to say there was a part that I'm shocked that they haven't gone to, and I think it's because there's some kind of agreement. Like the offensive line group likes to lay low. They've always been about do your business, don't talk your business. But I always feel like in most Hard Knocks, one of those types of guys is highlighted as the quirky, funny, weird offensive lineman. And I'm shocked that they haven't found that individual guy from a long perspective, right? Obviously, Alecon, am I saying that right? He's been like very entertaining in his extremely small doses, right? Essentially one-liners, if we're looking at the comedy aspect of it. And the funniest moment of either episode took place, as Meg said earlier, between Lyle Collins and Dak Prescott at the very end of the episode during the credits, when Lyle's giving him crap about not going to LSU and only beating them once while he was at Mississippi State and cried about it. Like, I was laughing out loud watching that, and yet we haven't seen one offensive lineman really featured. And usually those are the guys that are like the funniest, the most, I don't want to say like the most intelligent. That's kind of stereotypical to say, but they are usually extremely thoughtful.
That's well said. Go ahead, Meg.
Oh, I was going to say, you do make a good point in that, like, if you're talking about the O-line and you're showing Dak and Zeke together, like, add those, like, the 3 standout O-line guys into Dak and Zeke. Those are the guys that hang out all the time. They're always pranking each other. They're all doing it together. So I am surprised, too, that they're not showing that.
I like this comp. I am Jacques says Alarcon is like Creed from The Office. Like the occasional, just sprinkle it in one-liner. Jay Manzari kind of comparing Jalen to Toby says that he was in the episode. He was leading Keanu to the end zone like normal. Someone else's play is his celebration. So that is kind of par for the course. Eric did say, I didn't know that they did yoga, but I love it. Says, loves the show. Appreciate it, Eric. They have done that several times. I actually believe this yoga instructor was pregnant too. So that was kind of a super impressive act of physical achievement. Certainly. Meg, what are you surprised
women
by?
Can do things too, RJ.
I'm just saying that would be difficult to do. Like I've tried yoga. It's difficult. And so, and I'm this awkward shape. So
right. There's specifically prenatal yoga, but we won't go into that. As a humongous fan of this person, I am upset I haven't seen enough of him yet. He was in like one scene.
We got Dez. We got him in this episode.
We did get Dez. However, I'm talking about Randy Gregory.
Oh, yeah.
And if we're talking about a story, and I know I will harp on this forever because I watched him at Nebraska. I'm a Nebraska fan. Thank you, DJ Dog. That's my guy. Yes. So as someone who like followed him at Nebraska, I'm just like super invested in him. And like, just like he has such a good, interesting story. And he's a quiet guy, but he's also not. Like he has very loyal relationships on this team. So I'm kind of surprised that we haven't got to see any of that.
You could argue he's the second most important person on defense. Like, I think.
I mean, he got a sack at this.
Dig the sack.
This would be a sack.
I get where you're coming from, Meg, and I get where DJ Dog 31 is coming from. But he is so quiet and so reserved. I could see him. I certainly can understand the filmmakers in this case being like, hey, let's tell this story. And he'd be like, I'm good. I just, I could totally see that. I'm sure you can too.
I certainly could, but I kind of wish that he would just let us in.
Right. Yeah, that's well said. Tom, what are you stunned by? What has your mouth agape that you haven't seen through 2 episodes?
There were other people hurt this past week, and they just
you were so
left
offended.
it out. Just like, oh, really? We had 5 people injured in the Arizona Cardinal game, and you guys just glossed right over that. I couldn't believe that just didn't come up. I mean, why are they not discussing some of that? That's to me one of the most dramatic parts of camp and preseason is the injuries that you so hate to see. And they talked about Dak, they talked about Basham. Everybody else just like, okay, guys, you're on your own. Go to the bullpen. Forget you.
Tom, you're right. Neville Gallimore, not a peep. Ty Nsekhe, not a peep. Malik Turner, not a peep. Sean McEwen, not a peep. Like all these players have these serious injuries that the Cowboys are now having to work through. You would think that they would have at least shown something, a player walking out on crutches or like something like that to kind of set up next week's episode. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Or the guys on PUP, you got Tristan Hill, Amari Cooper, all these guys that came in.
Yeah, we didn't even get to see Amari or Tank coming off of PUP. You know what I
mean? What
we saw Amari catch the pass from Dak, I was busy watching the hips, but I saw Amari.
Now, I will admit that may be part of the next episode because we actually saw Amari and Tank coming back to practice after the Cardinals game. But, there's a lot of big story, but maybe I'm looking at it too much from the football perspective and not enough from the dramatic entertainment viewpoint for a nationwide audience that we've got with Hard Knocks.
Nationwide is a brand, Tom. We don't do any free ads here, so be careful with that.
All right.
But
hey, I got a new NIL deal, so.
I know I already answered, and I know that they did show this last week, but like we've talked a lot about how this is a show and that's how NFL Films and HBO put it together. And so they play the hits. Like we know that they do that. So I am genuinely surprised we did not get more Mojo moments. I really thought that was going to be like a really prevalent theme throughout the entire series.
Was that a hit?
Oh, dude, it was a hit. I mean, the audacity of you to ask if it was a hit. I mean, it was a huge hit. It was all everybody was talking about all this week. It's been Mojo moments, Mojo moments. Like, you know, how did they not get a one-on-one with Mike Myers? You know what I mean? To talk about this by now. I mean, it's been a week.
God, that is true. I would be shocked if Hard Knocks didn't set him up to like come out to camp dressed up in full Austin Powers garb. And
I don't just want it, I need it.
Do you remember in 2017 when the Cowboys played the Jaguars and Conor McGregor was there and every Cowboy was doing the walk? Do you remember that? You know, Dak was doing it, Byron Jones was doing it, they were all doing it. I mean, I could totally see Mike McCarthy like freaking out. Like Mike Myers shows up to a Cowboys game, he's on the field pregame, he's dressed like Austin Powers. I could see, you know, like, and then, you know, like the meme becomes like Randy, and we talk about Randy Gregory. Like it writes itself. Like, how are we not doing this?
I mean, it does write itself until they flip over to CeeDee Lamb, and the kid was born after the movie was released, and he's totally dumbfounded by what he's seeing because he has no idea what's going on.
I don't know if that's accurate.
That is accurate. CeeDee Lamb
when do you think the first Austin Powers came out?
97?
Give me a month and a date because you got the year right. I'm curious at this.
Okay. Was it 97? Give me April.
You're a month
summer.
off. It was May.
Blockbuster.
It was a summer
blockbuster.
Yeah, May 2nd, 1997. Now, to be fair, CeeDee's birthday.
Like Amari Cooper was almost born after this movie. If you think about it, like if you want to get real.
To be fair, Roy, you're referencing Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. But,
I don't like the technicality that you're going on here, sir. I don't appreciate
CeeDee Lamb
that. As if they would have caught on to the sequel when it was
CeeDee Lamb was born April 8th, 1999, and 2 months and 3 days later, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, was released. So, I mean, tomato.
The one with Beyonce exists. Okay.
That's the kind of stats you're going to get from RJ. That's why you need to follow this man on Twitter. If you're not following him, you're missing out on stats like that. Right? And did the Cowboys win the Super Bowl that year, RJ?
They did not. They have never won the Super Bowl in an Austin Powers-led world. But I am wearing a Man United. I'm wearing. Check this out. I was really proud of this one. I'm wearing a Man United kit. Roy, before we jumped on here, you were talking about Paul Pogba. Bruno Fernandes, the talisman for Man United, had a hat trick last week on opening day. The last time,
any cheap goals, not any penalty kicks that he gets.
The last time that a Man United player had a hat trick on the opening day of league play, the Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, like that's a fact. I mean,
nice
mic drop.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay. Last question on this. Give us your final thoughts on Hard Knocks in 4 words. Tom, you go first.
4 words. Okay. I love how you hit me with all the ones that take time and thought and say, jump into it.
Right. Tom, make it sound great. Make it sound great. 4 words. That was easy. Now it's your turn.
Real good. Want more.
Ooh, that's a great, like Roy was talking about, like summer blockbusters. That's a great tagline for a blockbuster, Tom. You could work in Hollywood. You're already properly dressed. Meg, 4 words.
Can Kelvin rap or not?
That's 5 words.
Whatever. Or not is 1 word.
I think actually I'm gonna amend yours. Meg, let Boss Man Fat rap.
Yes, that's actually great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. RW3, what you got?
I'm about the smells.
Yes.
Like, if he doesn't have a candle out ready to go and it's not CeeDee's nuts, because if Gwyneth Paltrow can do it, he can certainly do it. If he doesn't have a candle out by this next week, then the amount of branding mistakes that are being made throughout the first 2 episodes, right? I expected Jerry to have an entire 6-pack of Miller Lights on one side, right? And have a whole fridge of Dasani water in the background on the other, right? The amount of, advertising that one entity got as they just sat a sandwich on his desk, right? This is a businessman. This is a billionaire. Why is he not thinking about this stuff? And so, CeeDee, like, get the man some candles. Smell them the way it needs to smell. Okay? Get the scent if you need to get down there with some baby powder or whatever. And by the way, RJ, I'm shocked you didn't mention the fact that they continued the theme of eroticism right out of the gate from episode 1.
I mean, we went from vast deference to the baby powder scene. I mean, hey, it is HBO and it is late at night, to be totally clear here. But that's a good one, I suppose. I'm about the smells. I will say on the candle thing, I don't need a CeeDee line or like a CeeDee candle line. Here's what we need. And this is the more predictable thing. CeeDee scores a touchdown. He grabs the ball vertically and lights it like a candle. That's the new thing for me.
See, okay. And then someone's going to make that a weed reference.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, like, they're not a devoted fan.
I like where you're going with this, but
if Taco can do the taco thing, CeeDee can do the candle thing. It's all, I don't
trust the media in that regard.
Fine.
I like where your head's at, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that there's a celebration that we're building here. Do I have to do the 4 words thing? I feel like I don't have to do the 4 words.
You do have to. You have to. You've got all this time.
Please tell us.
Micah Parsons is good. That's the most important takeaway. Like, this is all fun and candles and baby powder and Tom's outrage that hurt players aren't getting enough shine. But the most important thing, the Cowboys had a top 10 pick, which is an incredible commodity and an incredible resource. And we were all worried that they had pissed it away, like, an opponent facing Demarcus Lawrence. And so, I mean, the fact that Micah Parsons is really good, not that we didn't know that, but that we're seeing it. I mean, he really exemplifies what I want in a first-round pick. Like, his attitude, his disposition, the way he carries himself, the way he's narrating CeeDee, scoring touchdowns, like, everything about Micah Parsons checks the box for me.
This whole season is the rookie's gambit. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well, it'd be nice to see some of the other rookies.
I had another TV reference that I didn't want to say. I know we said that Isaac was kind of like Creed from The Office. Sticking with the candle theme, that does kind of make CeeDee like Jane Levinson. I'm not pumped about that, but it is what it is.
That was a successful business. Look at the size of the TV she purchased.
She didn't buy that.
That's Michael right. Scott that was all Michael Scott.
Yeah. So, Michael McCarthy. I'm assuming his first name's Michael. I don't totally know that for sure. But I think Michael McCarthy has had a good couple episodes too. I think he's come across endearing. So good for him. But we need more Mojo moments. That's what I'm saying. Let's get that back.
Yeah, Cue the Austin Powers soundtrack.
DJ Dog 31. If anybody else has more we actually do have some 4 words. Jay Manzari 1 says Brady meet Mr. Parsons. I like that.
Roy's focus is concerning.
Yeah, Troy says
does he
Roy's
mean my
focus
eyes?
is concern. I don't know.
I know I look all over the place. I'm bad at
that came comment, up right after the sexual.
That happened right after you said the word erotic. Otis Hudson Jr. kind of cheated, said not see these nuts, and then had emojis as the 4th word. So I suppose that technically works.
I think he might have been referencing Roy's comment, but that might be me.
That's an easy smell to replicate, right? Like, people like the smell of like roasted peanuts. I love the smell of roasted.
Oh, I thought you were talking about baby powder for a second, but the smell of baby powder is pleasant in its own way. DJ Dog says the British coaching invasion. Kind of like that. An interesting international flavor to that with America's team.
With a cultural touchback to the 60s too.
That's true, Tom. That's well done. I bleed blue 360. I bleed blue 365 says no more Mojo moments.
He does not agree with you.
That's again, like, we got to have the players that can produce Mojo to have Mojo moments, and like all the players that produce them are kind of not practicing.
Otis said he was talking about Roy's comment, so you were right, Meg. All right. Anybody have any last thoughts? Anything that if you don't say it right now, you're not going to be able to sleep for a week? Anybody? Going once. I am Jacques says need more salt McGriddles. That's a good one too. Yeah. I was kind of hoping one of you would have had something to say because I kind of set that up to be.
Well, you're so thorough, RJ. I mean, I think you do a great job of covering every aspect of the episode. Was there any part of it that we didn't touch on? That's about as thorough as it gets. I mean, unless we're missing something. And by the way, chime in on the text line if you are interested in any part we didn't discuss. But I think we covered it as best anybody could. Right?
Yeah,
better than any other podcast out there.
That's true. By the way, speaking of, today is Tuesday. You might be listening to this or rewatching this on Wednesday. Tomorrow, then, on Thursday, you can hear Roy White and Tom Ryle on Riled Up. They get riled up, and they'll get you riled up. I Bleed Blue, by the way, says the bad yoga angles is 4 words. So, tough scene there.
Also
you can
erotic.
Yeah.
That's subject to opinion. Meg, you can hear on Girls Talking Boys on Friday with Kelsey Charles. Subscribe to the Blog of the Boys podcast network and leave a rating and write a review. Because if you write a review and you ask any of these cool kids a question, they will answer it. Right? You all promise that?
100%.
I promise.
Tom?
Scout's honor.
If I see it, I will get back to you as best I can.
Well, that was really diplomatic again, Tom. This is, the campaign's already been set. You've already won.
It's a classic soft sell from Tom. He soft sells and he over delivers. He's the hardest working man we got.
I never make a promise unless I'm absolutely sure I can do it. And who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
You sound like Turbo Man in Jingle All the Way. Always keep your promises if you want to keep your
How
friends.
do you have all these references?
Anyway, so that about does it for us here at Blog of the Boys. Episode 2 of Hard Knocks in the books. Go rewatch all of the cool stuff. Let us know what you think. Roy is on Twitter at RW3. Tom on Twitter at TomRyleBTB. Meg is on Twitter at Meg Murray with 4 R's. Get it right, not 3, not 5. I'm on Twitter at RJ Ochoa. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you next time. Tom, Roy, Meg, myself, we love you all.